Well, Steve, it's a joy and pleasure to be out here in this magnificent orchard. We happen to be in the vicinity of Fresno with Steve Koretoff and his family. They have created this magnificent orchard here, and just want to say the bloom is just about approaching its height. It's very ethereal, and it's a privilege and a pleasure to be out here. And my first question is, Steve, for how long have you and your family been farming here?
My father started in the almond business in 1966 when he first started farming almonds. But actually, our family has been here since the just after the turn of the century, about 1913, 1915. Our family came from Russia. Spent some time migrating to this area, and by 1918 they were established just down the road from here, and started out as migrant workers, and little by little over the years and the generations we've been able to purchase land and become our own bosses.
Oh, that is so that's so exciting. And you know, we've just toured the production plant here, which is just a magnificent example of modern agricultural technology. We were so impressed with that indeed. So I want to tell you, so that's quite a story to come over here to come here from the old country in very modest circumstances indeed, and to build up. Just in general terms, about how many acres do you have?
Right now we're farming right at about 550 acres of organic almonds. 550
acres of almonds. That's magnificent.
Yeah, all of our production, all of our farmland is organic. We only farm organic. Our packing and processing facility, as you know, only processes and packs organic. Our cold storage facility as well is strictly organic, where there's no conventional food or products handled by us at any time.
So that must be a tremendous amount of work and labor and effort and devotion. About how many people do you have working for you?
At any given time, we have roughly 25 people working for us between the farming operation and the packing facility.
Okay. Good. Well, it must mean that it must mean that you're very productive and very mechanized indeed, because 25 people is not exactly, for 500 acres of almonds, is not exactly the largest labor force. So that's very impressive. And my other question, as far if you could give me an estimate, just as to your annual production of almonds.
Our annual production is just below 1 million pounds a year.
1 million pounds of almonds a year.
Yeah, our average is probably somewhere between 850 and 925,000 pounds a year.
I see. What sort of general uses are the almonds being put to these days?
A lot of the almonds that we sell are being used, of course, for butter. Some of them are manufactured, they're sliced and diced, or they're run through a breaker and they're used for nutrition bars and different things like that. A lot of our products used for manufacturing, but of course one of the main ways that the almonds are used are just table almonds.
Just as table almonds.
The nonpareil variety is very popular for that. So we see that's probably 50% or more of the production is strictly for table almonds, or maybe something that's added into a trail mix or something like that.
I see. Well, okay. So my question is this: it seems to me, for decades here in this country, the almond has been a sleeper. It's been in the background, whereas of late, its popularity has dynamically increased. Just what factors do you see that account for that?
We have several factors. One, there's definitely a trend through consumers that are looking for more of a Mediterranean style diet, a healthy
Mediterranean style, right? Exactly.
And almonds and dried fruits, of course, are a big part of that. They're definitely a traditional part of a Mediterranean diet. So we have a lot more health conscious people here in the United States, which of course is increasing demand. But we also see an increase in demand in Europe and in Asia as well. So it's kind of a combination. For organic, of course, the primary interest in organic started here in the United States, but we're really pleased to report that other parts of the world, organic has really caught on.
I'm so glad to hear that.
And we're seeing a lot more interest from foreign countries than we've seen before. And our biggest dilemma now is that we have worldwide demand, but because of some of the price issues that happened over the last several years, there's simply not enough organic growers. And so in order for our industry to be a sustainable industry, we really need more almond growers to convert over to organic. And this is one of the things that we're trying to work with more farmers and show them what we've done here, and that you can produce organics and be successful at business, and you can be profitable and minimize the impacts on the environment, and still be a businessman at the same time. And I think that's a good mix that we can really slowly but surely bring more and more people into the fold in the organic industry.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I'm so glad. So it's definitely it's a growing and expanding sector of the agricultural, of agriculture here in California, and that's a beautiful thing. My question is, the average consumer out there balks at the price of organic almonds, and it seems to me part of this is because of the fact that they don't realize how much energy and effort and devotion goes into actually growing, sustaining, and creating an organic almond. Would you like to talk a little about that?
Yeah.
And explain to people?
Yeah, the average production for the average almond orchard in this area is just under 3,000 pounds per acre for a conventional orchard. There are some orchards that are in further western part of Fresno County that produce up to 5,000 pounds per acre. For an organic farming operation, we're looking at production that's somewhere closer to 1,800, 1,900 pounds. 1,800,
okay.
So we're literally seeing a reduction from converting to organic practices as high as 30 or 40%.
30 or 40% reduction.
Right.
I see.
But our expenses are actually, it's more expensive to farm organically than it is to farm conventionally, because of course to control the weeds and to till the soil and to do the composting programs and everything like that, it requires a lot more labor. It requires a lot more time in the field. We have to manage things much more stringently because we don't have chemicals to control bugs and things like that. And so we really do spend a lot more time and effort per acre than our conventional counterparts. I'm not saying that our conventional counterparts don't work hard too, but we have some challenges that are unique to organic. And in order for us to be profitable, we really do need to have that organic premium.
I see.
And we were talking about sustainable business. And one of the parts of being a sustainable business is you also have to be profitable.
Absolutely.
And this is part of the reason why there's a shortage right now for California grown organic almonds, is when the price got down to the conventional prices, the organic grower just weren't getting the profitability that they needed to stay in the business. And so several of the larger growers went back to conventional farming, and all of a sudden we went from an oversupply situation to an undersupply situation. And so now over the last 2 to 3 years we're seeing a recovery in the prices, and it's becoming profitable again for organic. And we're hoping that this profitability will come in and it'll help attract new growers to organic. And that way we have a sustainable supply of almonds. And we get away from these price spikes. I'm sure the consumers didn't like it when organic almonds were $16 and $18 a pound. And it's not sustainable for us as packers or growers either, because we would like to see a price that's more consistent and steady for the consumers and for the farmers. That way the consumer is getting an excellent value for a very healthy food product, and the farmer is profitable. And one of the best ways to reach out to the conventional farming part of the industry is to see that organic is a sustainable, profitable venture, and that that they don't have to worry about the profitability side when they convert to a sustainable agriculture into organic farming practices.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I'm glad to hear you say that. I'm glad to hear. We see articles, you know, from time to time in the Wall Street Journal and New York Times and so on, and by all kinds of agricultural experts, and saying that if we're going to feed the world, it has to be through chemical conventional farming. That organic farming cannot do it, and is not and cannot begin to meet the overall demand for sustenance and for food and so forth. What do you say to that, Steve?
In some aspects, I would agree that maybe today we don't have the capability to grow the world's food supply organically, but I can tell you that we are a lot closer today than we were 10 years ago. And I think that if there was as much money going into research into organic farming practices, and if we had some of these larger corporations investing in tools that we can use in the organic community, I think that what we can do is over the next 15 to 20 years is be able to grow a crop in a sustainable organic fashion, and yet come much closer to getting what is a conventional yield, and therefore increasing the amount of food that we can produce organically per acre, and it's more efficient. You know, we have a limited amount of natural resources, and so, you know, as organic, we're looking at how to maximize production for the resources that we use. California, of course, is very short on water, and we're very concerned about nitrogen buildup in the soil or in groundwater, and a lot of these issues in the organic in the field, by having a much healthier living soil, we're minimizing the amount of nitrogen that's required, and so we're using a composting program, and so we're limited on our nitrogen, but we find that as years go on and our soils get healthier and the living soil and the microbes increase, that the field actually needs less nitrogen through compost and things like that.
Good, I want to hear that.
Yeah.
You have used time and time again in this conversation, you have used the word sustainable. How, in what way is your operation sustainable as compared with the hundreds of acres all around us, you know, of conventionally chemically farmed almonds? In some long-term sense, are they not sustainable, whereas you are? In several aspects, yes, and in some aspects, no. And the reason that I say this is the Almond Board of California has started a sustainability program, and even though the majority of farmers in the California almond industry are conventional farmers, more and more growers, even conventional growers, are starting to kind of look back at the industry and look for more sustainable means. How can we stretch a gallon of water a little bit farther? You know, how can we minimize the impacts on the environment? And so in some ways what we're seeing through our organic farming practices is because our soils are so much healthier, because of our beneficial bugs that are in the orchard, are not being impacted by chemicals. The insects will actually keep themselves in check. Nature does a pretty good job. And so we're finding that we'd always worried when we converted to organic, well, what do we do when we have mite problems or we have worm problems? Well, some of the things that we're finding now is that because the soil is healthier, the trees are healthier, and normally an insect or a fungus or a disease will attack a tree that's stressed. Well, we're actually seeing less stress in our orchards than we did when we were farming conventionally. And so in some aspects, the amount of petroleum products and things like that, we're just seeing them constantly dwindling of what is needed to operate in this orchard. Really, the only petroleum that we're using right now is primarily to fuel our tractors. fuel their tractors.
Yeah, where in years past, when we were conventional farmers, we'd actually be putting liquid nitrogen onto the orchard right now, and a lot of our neighbors are.
Yeah.
With the price of oil, to buy liquid nitrogen is a very expensive endeavor.
Sure. And it's not sustainable.
No, and you know, the future going to be continuing to use traditional farming practices, or will we see more sustainable practices that benefit conventional and organic?
I see. That is so exciting. I'm so glad to hear that. You have mentioned the word composting. And that brings a general question, which our viewers would love to hear. What methods, in general terms, do you happen to be using to bring fertility to your acres and acres of trees? What do you do?
Yes, our primary thing that we're doing out here is we found that through an organic system of farming that we're needing less and less nitrogen. And so, of course, you always need some nitrogen. And so what we're doing is it's going through a composted program, which is composted dairy manure.
Composted dairy manure, okay.
Right, and it's composted over a period of time.
About how long?
It's usually anywhere from 6 to 9 months, depending on...
6 to 9 months.
Right, so, and so that is the process is monitored, and then the product is brought into the field in the winter, actually post-harvest, and we'll go ahead and we'll put it out in the under the tree line.
Under the tree line?
Not on the border, but out away from a few feet from the tree, and we'll cultivate it in, and then it'll slowly release the nutrients and the nitrates that the tree needs. It feeds the microbes in the soil that convert nitrogen into a nitrate that the tree can use. The other thing is that the organic material in the compost helps our soil profile, and that actually increases the amount of water retention. So the water is going to, and the nutrients are going to stay in the root system much longer, where the plants can use them, rather than them being flushed through the root zone where there's no benefit.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. Then I have another question. And Steve, we've been marketing your almonds and using them to make almond butter for around 50 years or so now. How is it that I rarely have a single complaint? Not only do I not have a complaint about your almonds, but people tell me that somehow they happen to be sweeter and more alive than your ordinary run of almonds.
I really appreciate the kind words. My fathers will love to hear this. As far as the almonds that come off of the tree, I have to be honest. And when I state that when you come to an almond tree, whether it's in an organic orchard or it's in a conventional orchard, and you pull a dry nut off of the branch and you crack it open, they're going to taste about the same. The difference is the way that we handle the product afterwards. And as you know, that our product, after it's shelled and hulled, we put it in a freezer, and we use that as a form of organic fumigation. That way your customers don't have little critters crawling around or dead critters in there. And then the other thing is that we keep the product, once it's been sorted and sized and packaged, we keep all of that product in our cold storage facility until such a time
it's kept refrigerated.
It's refrigerated.
That's what I want to hear. That's beautiful.
And what that does is that minimizes the degradation of the almond oils and oxidation that causes the almonds to degrade. So we're actually, by holding the product the way that we do, we're doing a couple of things. One, we're keeping the product as fresh as possible for the consumer. Two, we're ensuring through the freezing process that the consumer doesn't get anything with a live insect or a dead insect in it. And then through the cold storage process, because the temperature that we keep the product at, we don't have any pests in this area that are active in the temperatures that we keep the cold storage. So we're eliminating the possibility of recontamination. And the reason we're doing this is for product quality. When we got into this business, you have two choices of what kind of business you want to do. You can try to do, try to produce high volumes of product at a low price and make your profit on big volume, or you go out and you do the best job that you possibly can in farming and processing and handling to try to give the customer the best possible value for their dollar, and that's our aim. And every year we try to do measures inside of the processing facility. What can we do to do better? Yeah, we did good this year, but what can we do better? And I think that's maybe some of the things that go into that, and that's why the consumer takes an organic almond from our operation and tastes it, and it's 9 months from harvest, and perhaps they taste an almond from somewhere else, and they say, well, it's not as sweet, or it doesn't quite have the crunch, and a lot of that is, you know, just the love and effort and investment that we put into it. Our profit margins aren't as high because of some of the extra steps that we do, but we know that our customers are going to stay loyal because we're continually giving them top quality product day in and day out.
So in other words, the secret the secret ingredient that you're using in order to enhance the flavor, sweetness, taste, and quality of your almonds happens to be devotion. We use the words self-conscious spirit, you know, in you know, on our website and all. But I think what sounds really good. I'm not sure what it means, but it sounds great. But basically, the basic concept is devotion, 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 and it's that makes every possible difference, and that's really the bottom line: quality and devotion. That's what counts, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, as growing up with my grandparents on both my mother's side and my father's side, good enough was never good enough. It was always instilled in us that we had to do better. We had to do our best. And you know, I think the way that my dad runs the farming operation, and my brother does the farm managing, and my sister takes care of the ranch office, and I take care of the packing facility and the processing, that's so deeply instilled in us over generations that we'd have a hard time doing anything other than that. So
amazing. Well, Steve, I just want to say it's a privilege to be here. It's a very, very special time of year indeed. And for me especially, you know, times out there are increasingly violent. There's so much craziness and confusion out there. But when I come out here, when I watch the bees working the blossoms, when I see the peace and tranquility, when I breathe in the fresh air and experience the sunlight here, and most of all meet and experience the friendliness and devotion of the people here, it gives us hope that there is a chance that this America, no matter where it's going to go, at the grassroots, there's that power and devotion that will heal, sustain, and renew this great country. It's a privilege and an honor, Steve, to be
It's a pleasure to have you visit us as always, and we look forward to your continued visits, and as our company progresses and as we do new and exciting things, we're really happy to have you as not just somebody that we do business with, but as a partner. You know, somebody that we work with. You know, we've always tried to say that our customers are a lot more than just somebody who sends us money. We really work to develop our relationships that are much deeper than that, and I think that's something that we find in the organic community, that a lot of the business is a lot more than just business. There's personal relationships that are built, and that, to me, that's one of the most exciting and fulfilling parts of being involved in the organic community, is that sense of working together. It doesn't mean that we always see eye to eye with everybody else, but we're all kind of working towards a common goal, and that there is a lot of pleasure and a lot of reward out of the business that we do with people like yourself and our customers. You know, we have that commitment to a lot more than just business. It's something that binds us a little tighter, and it makes it to where when you go to work, it's not work. You're enjoying what you're doing. When you get a phone call from a customer or from somebody that you're working with, it's an enjoyable experience. It's not that cold, cut and dry business.
Exactly.
You know, and a lot of times, sometimes corporate America provides us with a lot of things that that we wouldn't have if it wasn't for corporate. But at the same time, it loses some of that warm family together spirit that built this country, and it's nice to see a renewal happening in the organic community where people are wanting to work together again, and people are looking forward to coming up with solutions rather than focusing on problems, and it brings me real joy to work with people in that fashion. So
that's the bottom line, Steve. It's not so much profitability, though profitability is important. You know, we all have to meet the bottom line. We all have expenses to pay. But it's empathy, it's affability, it's brotherhood and sisterhood that make every single difference in the world, and that's really what it's all about. That's really the bottom line. I just want to say, Steve, that it happens to be a privilege and a pleasure indeed to be out here and to be speaking with you. Thank you so very much.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you to you and your customers for your support. We really can't thank you enough. We really appreciate it.
We're going forward.
Thank you.